I was about a year out from being in a Deftones music video.
What a knee slapper. Good one, Dad. God's gift to mankind. The Crocs. Anytime you tell a dad joke, we just hit the gong. Like a big bong.
I think the VC space is in trouble. Meta is expecting that their AI can replace.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Legit AF. We're the husband and wife team that talk about real issues in a no BS way, navigating the personal and the professional, and how to build a successful life and career in the modern world. You can catch us every Tuesday morning on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Stone Tablet, Abacus, whatever other way you consume content in 2025. I'm Pav, alongside my beautiful wife and former Goth, Jenny. Jenny, how are you?
Former Goth. I mean, I don't think that anybody ever stops being Goth, man.
You're still Goth on the inside, is what you're saying.
You're always Goth on the inside.
Now, how much has your Gothness changed over the years?
Okay, all right. I want to say only a non-Goth, only a former, dare I say, preppy.
Yeah. You know, I had the pink Hollister with the popped collar,
polos,
and I don't know if you guys did this in Canada, but we used to do this thing where you tuck the front of your shirt in, but just the front, so you could see the belt buckle. It was cool to pop your collar and then tuck the shirt in so that the belt buckle was visible. And that's, I also had frosted tips, and that's how I walked.
Of course you did.
School.
Of course.
But don't change the subject. I want to know more about the Goth lifestyle and tell me a little bit about what that's been like for you.
Okay. So I just want to quickly say only a former prep would say something like, what was former Goth? Because you're always Goth, you know, it's about what's in your heart. And, growing up in a small town in Canada, life was really, really rough. You know, we had like the emo era. I don't know if we've got any like former emo kids out there, but I had, when we first met, actually, I had purple hair. I was about a year out from being in a Deftones music video.
Yes, I remember you bragging about that.
We're dropping some hot goss here. We're going deep into like the Jenny and Pav lore.
Now tell us, what different hair colors have you had over the years?
Okay. All right. Let's start from the beginning. So I have had blue and black, red and black, pink, purple. Purple that landed on being my favorite. The reason here, I'm going to give you guys a little tip. The reason why purple is so great is because if you're like me, who has very, very dark brown hair naturally, and you need to bleach your hair, what ends up happening when you bleach your hair is that it actually hits orange and peachy before it hits more of that blonde, more platinum blonde that, you know, you're kind of thinking of in your head. And so if you want to have hair that grows out nicely, pro tip from a former Goth right now, purple actually tones the brassiness out of the blonde, the kind of halfway blonde, and actually grows out quite nicely.
You're really just giving great advice to the next generation of children out there on how to anger their parents by changing the color of their hair.
Yeah, well, you know, I was a salutatorian. Salutatorian? That's a weird American word. Salutatorian. Sorry, guys. We didn't have that word in Canada. But
Number two.
I was the number two. And number one, well, let's just say he's still in our hometown right now.
I think it's better to be number two than to be number one, because there's a certain amount of expectation around number one. Number two is, I think, more the oddball. It's the person that's really going to actually go places rather than the person that just knows how to take tests really well.
Yeah, exactly. Also, number two has a social life. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So let's talk about our topic for today. What are we covering today?
So today we are going to be talking about hot jobs. All right.
Hot jobs.
What is a hot job? A hot job is not a job that you do out in the sun.
What a knee slapper. What a knee slapper. Good one, Dad.
Okay, shut up. We need to have like one of those. I don't know. We need one of those. Like, is there some sort of like gong or
A gong?
like a table?
Like the drums? You want to just hit like a big like bong?
like we're doing like a meditation.
I mean, if the podcast needs a gong, we can get a gong. That's fine.
Like
I'm sure we can order one on Amazon.
like a tabletop gong.
Like a little one.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that would be
Anytime you tell a dad joke, we just hit the gong.
It's like bow. Okay. Off to a good start.
Hot jobs.
Hot jobs. Gong. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm crying. Okay.
We got to move past it. We just got to move past it. Dad jokes.
Our table gong.
Dad jokes are always risky because if they hit you just right, you can derail the whole thing.
Oh God, it hurts.
I think I can probably order a gong on Amazon if you want me to look. They're probably available.
Sorry. Oh God, I'm going to get fired. We just started. Okay. So we are going to be talking today, not about gongs. We are going to be talking about the hot job trends that we are going to be looking at in 2025 and beyond. So one of the things that I think is really interesting about the hot jobs of 2025 is they are not at all what you think. And they show that there is a tremendous change that's coming. You're thinking about the gong still, aren't you?
I'm thinking gong engineer is like the number one job for 2025.
Sorry.
Gong smacker, maybe.
That's my new job. We need to say like legit AF. So the jobs are changing a lot. Okay. Back to like real people, business hat on now. Okay. I want to kick off the conversation today with a question that I have a feeling you are not going to know the answer to. So this guy's a chief people officer over here. Okay. Like this guy's literally like an executive that does this for a living. The number one job for 2020 was software engineer, which makes sense because everybody in the lockdown was building a startup, right?
Yeah.
Tracks so far,
Makes
right?
sense.
Okay. We just got the information for 2024 about what the number one job of 2024 was. What do you think the number one job of 2024 was?
Oh boy. Okay, so 2024 number one job. Well, I think, look, we're on the outside tail end of the pandemic here. I want to say that it has something to do in the medical profession, maybe like nursing, an RN. Is that potentially what the top job of 2024 was?
Chop top.
Hit the gong. Top job of 2024, RN.
Did you Google this?
No, I swear. I'm just totally using my big brain to.
Okay,
is that, am I right?
You're not right, but you're pretty close.
Oh, well, I got really excited for a second there.
You win $1 million. Okay. So the top job of 2024, as rated as the best job, was nurse practitioner.
Okay. So, I mean, that's pretty much spot on.
Okay. Well, there's an important nuance too, though, because a nurse practitioner, there's a few reasons why it's highly desirable. First off, it's got good pay.
Yeah.
It also reflects the changing priorities that we have in society, right? So a few years ago, building technology was considered to be kind of the way that you made it big and could get a good 6-figure career out of the gate. But now, we'll talk about this in a second, with AI very quickly replacing software engineers, we're kind of in a lot of ways going back to basics. And so nurse practitioner makes a lot of sense with the graying of the population. We have a ton of boomers that are going to be likely needing more and more medical care. And a nurse practitioner doesn't have to go all the way to medical school for all those years and can still prescribe and do a lot of stuff that a doctor can do, right?
It's like a sweet spot. It's
Exactly.
like right in the middle. You can get enough education and it's a well-paying job. It's highly desirable. You get to work with people in a more thoughtful, hands-on way than a doctor might. You're not just like in and out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, please don't add us doctors. We love doctors, but we do have nurse practitioners in our family, and, they all seem pretty happy about their careers and their
Yeah.
quality of life, certainly compared to some of the stress that you can be under as a doctor. So I do think that that's kind of an important little nugget for folks, like, to understand that we went in a 4-year period from 2020, software engineers being the hottest thing, to a nurse practitioner in 2024. And it just really shows this big arc and change in priorities in society. So a few weeks back, LinkedIn actually published their report on what they think will be the hottest jobs for 2025. So we're going to be talking about, we've covered nurse practitioner and why that was a big job. We'll be talking about a few other ones. We're going to publish this full list in the show notes, of course, but I want to go through some of the notable highlights. Some of the stuff on here is a shocker, and some of the stuff on here is not. Number one job prediction for 2025? Take a guess.
I'm going to guess it has something to do with AI.
Yeah, it's an AI engineer, of course, prompt engineer. It's like a completely new job that just got created. I find it so funny because, well, I'll tell you in a moment. Number 2 is AI consultant. Number 12 is AI researcher. It's such a fascinating job to have because by nature, you are making yourself irrelevant in the
Potentially,
job.
Yeah. I mean, you're creating a technology that is going to get better at engineering.
Yeah.
And ultimately replace you.
So speaking of AI engineers, Mark Zuckerberg recently said on the Joe Rogan podcast that Meta was now expecting for 2025 that by the end of 2025, their AI agents will be able to perform tasks that are as complex as a mid-level software engineer. So let's take a pause for a second. This is no longer junior entry level. He said specifically mid-level engineer. What does a mid-level engineer at Meta look like?
They're probably making somewhere around 200 to 225 on the absolute high end.
Okay. And what does a mid-level engineer do, and what kind of experience level would you have to be at that, just so we can contextualize for folks?
I mean, I don't know exactly what Meta looks for in an engineer, but this is going to be a mid-level person, somebody who's competent and can do a lot of the intermediate level engineering work on their own, right? They'll probably have somebody above them that's double checking their work and all of that stuff. But this is a competent person that has been coding, doing software engineering for a long time, professionally for 6 or 7 years, and probably for over a decade, including their education that they got to get to that point.
Okay, so just to clarify what we just said, Meta is expecting by the end of this year that their AI can replace a job that was previously held by a person that likely had a combined education and work experience level of about 10 years.
Yeah, and then you apply that to AI. It's not just, hey, here's a mid-level engineer. It's here's an infinite amount of them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So AI engineer, great job to have right now. I think they're getting paid something like $800,000 or $900,000 over
an AI consultant too. And I think like that's the bread and butter right there, because there's a lot of people out there that understand that AI is coming, that it exists, but they don't know anything about it, much less how to implement it into their business or into their lives. So to me, an AI consultant is a great opportunity. If you're competent enough and technical enough and you can speak on AI in a thoughtful way and help somebody implement that in your company, I mean, seems like there's tons of money to be made doing something like that.
I totally agree. And we do know a person that left a very, very, very high level position in AI and just does that now, and does it for Fortune 500 CEOs, Global 2000s. And again, great while the money is hot.
Yeah.
I like to remind people that there was a time when there was internet consultants.
Yeah. I mean, just how to get hooked up and then how to use the internet, the basic internet that we had in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah. So there was people out there in that kind of gold rush then, and there's people out there now. I'll tell you my hot take as a VC is that AI might be the hottest category to invest in right now for startups, but the nature of what AI does is essentially going to make startups potentially irrelevant in the next 5 to 10 years because they're investing in technology that can build what a startup spends years building in maybe 24 hours. And so like the era of
You're certainly going to need a lot less people to do it, right? So startups are just going to be tiny 1 or 2 person companies max, and they could easily be worth $1 billion depending on what they're building.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm going to take a contrarian approach on that. I think that the VC space, just kind of putting my VC hat on for a second here, I think the VC space is in trouble. We're down to 2018 fundraising levels, just to be clear. You know, if you look at it, it looks like a cliff. And I think that VC was always a niche category that got very expanded during the pandemic, like other things did. And there wasn't enough value there for all those VCs to go in because there's not that many companies that can truly return that. But to kind of end the point, I think that VCs are going to have trouble in this post-AI world finding investable categories because typically speaking, SaaS is really the only thing that's returned the multiples that it needs to in this space. Even though I'm in climate and, you know, there's energy tech and food tech and all these other hard tech, space tech, they're not going to return the same multiples as software because quite frankly, one involves hardware and things in the physical world and the other one doesn't. So a VC as a category might start to go away even.
Maybe, or these companies are going to require a lot less capital to actually get off the ground because if you've got one employee and one AI agent that's doing all the engineering for you, you don't need that much to get a successful company off the ground.
So yet another reason AI is going to make VC irrelevant because you will not need outside funding.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, you could just get some angel investment in and you're off to the races.
Yeah, 100%. So unsurprisingly, that's the very beginning of the list. But number 3. Okay. The number 3 hottest job for 2025 is expected to be the physical therapist.
And again, I don't think it's that surprising. I mean, we were talking about it a moment ago with the nurse practitioner, right? We've got a large baby boomer population. They're getting older. They need things like physical therapy because they're living longer. Human beings in general are living longer. Yeah. So it makes sense that physical therapy is going to be one of the hottest jobs for the year.
Yeah, I do think it makes sense. I think this is actually showing us such a fascinating arc because on one hand, it's the most ultra tech jobs that'll be popular. And on the other hand, it's actually going back to more of the basic needs, right? We're going to health needs in society, right?
Well, I think it speaks a lot to the longevity movement that we're also seeing, right? People are living longer. We're understanding more about the human body and health. And one of the biggest ways that you can stay healthy is to stay mobile. And the best way to stay mobile is to work on your strength, work on your endurance, work on physical therapy if you've got issues that you're working through. So again, it just makes sense. It's the best way to live longer.
Yeah. And there was an interesting study that came out too, right? About like the single greatest contributing factor to like health and longevity was related to how much muscle mass you have, right?
Strength and muscle mass is one of the biggest indicators. If you're not exercising and you're not working on your muscle, and I'm not talking like building huge muscles, but if you're not doing strength training, progressive overload, you are way more likely to die sooner than even if you're doing things like eating junk food or smoking. It's one of the biggest factors that contribute to your lifespan.
Hold on, let me just pause for a second here. So you're saying that muscle loss is actually potentially worse for you.
You need to be lifting weights and you need to be moving your body. Progressive overload, lift heavy stuff, push and pull heavy stuff, and move your body. Go for walks, go for runs. Those are the biggest indicators to longevity, at least based on what the current data show.
It's also fascinating too, because you think about physical therapy, you think about nurse practitioners kind of being the next era of the hot jobs. And, these are all speaking to obviously the macroeconomic shifts of the graying of the population. One of my favorite facts is like women 55 plus right now have something like $15 trillion of consumer buying power. 1/3 of all consumer buying power on the entire planet. And they tend to be like completely overlooked. So to me, if I'm becoming a physical therapist or if I'm becoming a nurse practitioner, I would really look at women in particular, healthy aging for women, post-menopause support, like that. It feels like a category that so few people pay attention to, yet it is an inevitability, just like aging, menopause, post-menopause, it happens to everyone. The market is amazing. You have 50% of people, right?
Yeah. And women live longer than men on average, right? So it's a market that deserves more attention because, frankly, women are going to be around longer.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that they talk about this great wealth transition, which will be the biggest ever in history, right? So we've got the millennials that are going to be getting all of the money from the baby boomers, generally speaking. And that is expected for a lot of millennials to be their big nest egg.
Yeah.
Especially for the millennials that haven't yet bought a home. A lot of them are banking on that money from their baby boomer parents. But what people don't realize is that before that great wealth transfer that comes down from boomer to millennial, there's actually going to be a lateral wealth transfer of husband to widow.
Interesting.
So this is a fascinating consumer marketing conversation right now. So all of the predominantly older male categories, and I'll give you an example in a second, are trying to figure out how they can adjust to older female consumers because they know that there's going to be, on average, something like 8 to 10 years where the older women have all of the wealth before it goes to the younger generation.
Huh.
So do you want to take a guess what category is the most scared and the most focusing on this?
I'm not sure. What is it?
Watches.
Watches?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's like a little nugget for y'all. No pun intended, watch out. But keep an eye on, the Rolexes of the world. They are very, very concerned that they're going to lose their consumer. And they're going to be really heavily focusing on like the female watch industry. I know it sounds funny, but I mean, look at the Jaguar rebrand. What do you think that's about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, it's interesting. I would never spend that kind of money on a watch in any situation, but to each their own, I guess.
Well, the new electric Jaguars are decidedly more feminine looking, in my opinion. And I think we can all agree that Jaguar was considered an affluent male car previously, right?
Yeah.
So the last one on the list is going to actually kind of connect to the first two that we were just talking about. The number 11, 14, 18, and 21 on the hot jobs list all have to do with energy and infrastructure, actually. So we've got community planner at 11, land agent at 14, bridge engineer at 18, and nuclear engineer at 21. I think I know exactly where this connection is. What are you seeing?
I'm just happy to see nuclear on the list, honestly. Apparently the word is nukehead. I am a nukehead. I think nuclear energy is our saving grace as a species. Fusion looks cool. We don't know when that's going to happen, if at all. Could be decades away. We have nuclear energy today. We need more clean energy. I'm glad it's on the list. It's not just going to power our lives. It's going to power all the AI that we've been talking about.
That's exactly it. I think for, folks to kind of the takeaway here is that all of this tremendous technology that we're so excited to have, it's all going to require vast amounts of energy. And that's why folks like Sam Altman that are building, OpenAI also are investing heavily in nuclear startups. And so all of the amazing things that are at our fingertips are going to require so much energy investment. Basically, every good thing that could happen to this planet is going to use more energy.
I'm hoping that we're not just getting an AI revolution, but we're also going to have an energy revolution, and we're going to see more nuclear energy come online. We're going to see people's perceptions of nuclear change. And I think that can help lead a lot of the infrastructure innovation that's also on this list, and that we're going to see new infrastructure revitalize the United States and lead to a level of energy prosperity that we haven't even been thinking about because we've been so concerned about pollution. Nuclear really solves all of those problems.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go. That is the hot jobs of 2025.
Hit the gong, bong, and let's move on. So before we move on to legit or lame, remember to subscribe. Remember to give us a review. Remember to tell your friends. Follow us on all the social channels. And your subscription helps us get the word out and helps more people see the show. Do it on Spotify. Do it on YouTube. Do it on anywhere you basically listen to podcasts or watch podcasts. We would really appreciate it. An Apple, of course.
Come on.
An Apple podcast.
We need our Apple
as well.
overlords to be happy.
Of course.
All right, legit AF or lame AF. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm concerned how this first one's going to go, but I'll just throw it out there. Legit or lame Crocs?
I need my gong to center my meditation for this. I don't like them. I'm sorry.
Now, why is it that you don't like God's gift to mankind, the Croc?
Just to be clear, they were originally, bringing this full circle, actually, they were originally for nurses. They were nursing shoes.
Because they're lightweight, they're comfortable, they're stylish. You can put your personality into them via the little trinkets you can put on them.
You don't even know what they're called. What are they called?
I have no idea what they're called, but they're cool. And
gems? Or no?
I have no clue.
They're ornament. No,
So here's the thing, okay? I own multiple pairs of Crocs that I wear around the house. Sometimes I wear them out in public. I'm proud of it. I've got nothing to be ashamed of. You don't like to be seen with me when I'm wearing my Crocs.
Your anniversary present last year was me taking you to the shoe store and me allowing you to get Crocs.
They're very comfortable. And I think as soon as you put them on, you only wonder what took you so long.
All right. Well, I'm going to still say lame AF. I know the Gen Zers that wear Crocs at the club are going to disagree, but I'm sorry. I'm old.
Let's squeeze in one more here. I'm going to surprise you with this one. Clothing for dogs. Legit or lame?
Legit AF. I love clothing for dogs.
I'm torn on this one because I think our dogs look cute in outfits, but then I don't really like to be seen in public walking my dogs with clothing on them.
Okay, I just want to say, coming from up north, at least it made more sense. You need to put a jacket on a dog. I will say I did go hiking a few weekends ago with a friend who put shoes on her dog for our hike.
Shoes, I think, is maybe a step too far. But then again, we walk around with shoes. It's not like we're walking around barefoot. But it's really the clothes. And I'm not talking about like a little like Christmas sweater, which I think is seasonally appropriate. I think if your dog is wearing something all the time, I don't know. I feel like it says something about you. I can't really take you seriously.
So you're going lame AF?
I'm going lame AF on the dog clothes. Yeah.
I think I'm going to just say, I don't know. I'm going to go legit AF. I know it's the most millennial thing about me, but it is what it is.
All right, let's get out of here. We haven't had dinner. I'm starving. I want to go eat some dinner. If you've got any comments or topics that you'd like to see us cover, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at legitafpod, or drop us a line on our site, legitafpod.com. And as always, new episodes are coming out every single Tuesday morning. YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Send us some love, and we will see you next time.
Gong.
Goodbye.